Baltimore is a city of stark contrasts. Founded in 1729, it played a significant role in American history, particularly during the War of 1812, when the defense of Fort McHenry inspired the writing of the Star-Spangled Banner. Known for its rich history and culture and prominent institutions like Johns Hopkins University, the city is also plagued by systematic poverty, crime, and a crippling drug epidemic. Beneath the surface of Baltimore's charm lies a harrowing reality, one where large swaths of the population grapple with poverty, drug addiction, and the cascading effects of economic decline. Baltimore has long been a city grappling with poverty, a condition deeply rooted in historical and systemic factors. Over the past few decades, deindustrialization, white flight, and the lingering effects of systemic racism have played significant roles in shaping the city's socio-economic landscape. Once a thriving manufacturing hub, Baltimore lost tens of thousands of jobs due to the collapse of its industrial sector, leaving many of its residents without employment. As industries moved out and wealthier residents followed, Baltimore's economy suffered, contributing to a rise in poverty and neglect. The disinvestment in inner-city neighborhoods created a ripple effect that still plagues the city today. The city's poverty rate hovers around 24%, but the burden is not evenly distributed. In areas like West and East Baltimore, the poverty rate is far higher, with entire neighborhoods left to fend for themselves amidst crumbling infrastructure and inadequate public services. These areas bear the brunt of decades of disinvestment and segregation, where underfunded schools, lack of healthcare facilities, and poor housing conditions are prevalent. Public services that could help alleviate these challenges are often stretched thin or inadequately resourced, perpetuating the cycle of poverty from generation to generation. In such an environment, opportunities for upward mobility are few, making it difficult for residents to escape the poverty trap. One of the key drivers of poverty in Baltimore is the education system, which remains underfunded and unequal. Schools in predominantly Black and lower-income neighborhoods often lack the resources to provide students with the skills and opportunities necessary for success. As a result, graduation rates are lower, and many students face significant barriers to accessing higher education or finding well-paying jobs. This educational disparity feeds into a larger cycle of unemployment and underemployment, further deepening the poverty crisis. A lack of quality education and job training opportunities compounds the struggles of those who are already vulnerable, making it difficult for them to compete in an increasingly skills-based economy. Housing inequality is another critical factor contributing to poverty in Baltimore. Many residents are trapped in substandard housing or face the risk of displacement due to rising rents and gentrification. Decades of discriminatory housing practices, such as redlining, have left Black communities disproportionately affected by poor housing conditions and homeownership barriers. Abandoned homes and vacant lots dot large sections of the city, signaling a long history of neglect and disinvestment. Without access to affordable, safe housing, many families are left in precarious situations, further destabilizing communities and reinforcing cycles of poverty. Healthcare access also remains a challenge for Baltimore's impoverished communities. With limited healthcare facilities in low-income neighborhoods, many residents face significant barriers to accessing essential services. This has led to poorer health outcomes, with higher rates of chronic diseases and lower life expectancy in some areas of the city. The combination of limited healthcare, lack of employment, poor education, and substandard housing creates a web of systemic challenges that keep many Baltimore residents locked in poverty. Addressing these interconnected issues requires not just immediate relief efforts, but long-term structural change aimed at revitalizing underserved communities and breaking the cycle of poverty once and for all. The drug epidemic in Baltimore, fueled by opioids like fentanyl and heroin, has created devastating consequences for the city. Once known for its heroin trade, Baltimore has seen the rise of synthetic opioids such as fentanyl, often laced with animal tranquilizers like xylazine. This mixture has turned large parts of the city into scenes of despair, reminiscent of the infamous zombie effect seen in Kensington, Philadelphia. The streets of Baltimore are littered with the remnants of addiction: dirty mattresses, used needles, and people who have fallen into addiction's grip. One of the most horrifying aspects is the widespread use of tranq, a combination of several substances, which induces a semi-comatose state in its users. Locals describe the scenes as apocalyptic, with people slumped over in a zombie-like stupor, ravaged by the powerful drugs that have taken over their lives. In neighborhoods like West Baltimore, where crime and drug use are rampant, the streets tell a heartbreaking story. Children grow up witnessing violence and addiction daily, living in environments marked by instability, lack of opportunity, and trauma. For many, hope feels distant, and the realities of drug addiction are all too familiar. The abandoned buildings, or abandominiums, serve as makeshift shelters for homeless individuals and drug users. These structures, often filled with paraphernalia like needles and makeshift cookers, have become death traps for many. Inside these dilapidated homes, people use drugs in isolation, safe from law enforcement, but not from the dangers of overdose or violence. One person recounts stepping on an exposed needle just outside one of these buildings, highlighting the dangers not just to the addicts, but to anyone living in or near these neighborhoods. The prevalence of abandoned homes and the lack of public safety only worsen the crisis. Despite these harsh conditions, the police are often overwhelmed, focusing on gun violence rather than tackling the pervasive drug use in these areas. The allure of drugs offers a temporary escape from the crushing realities of life in these impoverished areas. But addiction quickly takes over, pushing people deeper into poverty, homelessness, and crime. The presence of fentanyl and other potent synthetic drugs has made the stakes even higher, as overdoses become more common, and recovery seems increasingly out of reach. Despite the bleakness of Baltimore's drug crisis, there are some efforts to fight back. Individuals like Darren Mitchell, an outreach specialist dedicated to the cause, are working tirelessly to offer a lifeline to those struggling with addiction. Mitchell, who operates primarily in West Baltimore, spends his days and nights walking through the city's hardest-hit areas, offering immediate interventions to individuals caught in the web of substance abuse. His approach is simple yet effective. He provides compassionate guidance and immediate access to treatment facilities, helping individuals transition from the streets to recovery programs without delay. The success of outreach programs in Baltimore is a testament to the importance of government intervention and community-based solutions. The city has partnered with local nonprofits, healthcare providers, and social services to create a more holistic approach to addiction recovery. Efforts to combat the drug crisis have been hampered by a lack of resources and political will. While there are numerous outreach programs and treatment facilities, the scale of the problem dwarfs the available solutions. Law enforcement is often too preoccupied with violent crime to fully address the drug problem, leading to a situation where drug users in impoverished areas are left largely unchecked. Some community leaders and activists argue that more needs to be done at the policy level to address the root causes of the drug crisis. Proposals have included increasing funding for mental health and addiction services, providing better housing options for the homeless, and creating more economic opportunities in impoverished neighborhoods. Baltimore's future hinges on its ability to address the intertwined issues of poverty and drug addiction. The drug epidemic is not just a health crisis, but a reflection of deep-seated social and economic inequalities that have persisted for generations. The widespread availability of powerful synthetic drugs like fentanyl has escalated the problem to unprecedented levels, leaving many to wonder what it will take to reverse the tide. While individuals like Darren Mitchell and grassroots organizations offer a lifeline to those suffering from addiction, systemic change is necessary to address the root causes of poverty and addiction in Baltimore. Without significant investment in education, healthcare, housing, and economic development, the cycle of poverty and drug abuse will continue to devastate the city's most vulnerable residents. The story of Baltimore is one of both immense challenges and potential. With the right mix of political leadership, community action, and resources, there is hope that the city can rise from the depths of despair and become a model for how to combat urban poverty and addiction. Until then, the battle for Baltimore's future continues on the streets, in the abandoned homes, and within the hearts of those who still hold on to hope. If you found this overview helpful, be sure to give the video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Stay informed, and as always, be kind to each other.